Guys, I want to tell you about our friends over at Frostbuddy. It is drinkware engineered to keep your beverages exactly how you want them. Whether you're heading out for an adventure or just powering through your day, Frostbuddy's flagship product, the Universal Buddy, replaces the need for multiple can coolers by fitting virtually every 12-ounce and 16-ounce can bottle you drink, sodas and seltzers to coffee and sparkling water, all in a single versatile design. Constructed with high-quality double-walled stainless steel and thoughtful features like a flexible silicone lid and a tapered shape that fits most cup holders, Frostbuddy keeps drinks cold for 12 hours and hot for up to 6 hours. So you get consistent temperature control, whether it's an iced drink on a hot afternoon or a hot coffee on the drive to work. Built to last, field tested for durability, and backed by a 30-day return policy, Frostbuddy makes everyday moments, from tailgates and beach days to backyard cookouts and commutes, more enjoyable. Going over and click the link below and use promo code SSS15 to get 15% off of your first purchase when you visit our friends over at frostbuddy.com. And when you use that promo code SSS15. Are you tired of spending upwards of $7 to $8 on coffees that are full of sugar and high in fat? Well, look no further than Chike Nutrition, the brand redefining what coffee can do for your day. Chike Nutrition combines the rich, familiar taste of real coffee with 20 grams of high-quality protein and the energy of 2 shots of espresso, giving you both fuel and function in every scoop. Available in a variety of crave-worthy flavors like mocha, caramel, vanilla, and many more, Chike delivers smooth, cafe-style iced coffee that mixes instantly with water or your favorite milk, with no clunky blender or complicated prep needed. Each serving is designed to be low in sugar, packed with protein, and loaded with real espresso, so that you can get a sustained energy boost that helps power your morning, workout, or busy afternoon without the crash that comes from sugary coffee drinks. Whether you're looking for better nutrition in your coffee routine or a smarter way to stay energized and full longer, Chike makes it simple. Scoop, shake, sip, and enjoy. If you want to take advantage of the new year and get in the best shape of your life, click the link below and get yourself 10% off of your first order over at ChikeNutrition.com. What a day that we have had over the last 24 hours. We've had a lot that has transpired, from gambling to talks of expanded playoff being more and more real by the moment, to the ending of the the 5-for-5 eligibility rule coming into play, and much, much more. But nonetheless, guys, we are live. This is the Southern Sports Scene. I'm your host, as always, Lucas Hill. Make sure you do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe if you're watching us on the YouTube page. Turn on the bell notifications so that you are notified every time we go live, posting a video or post a new short here on the Southern Sports Scene. Every live show brought to you by our good friends over at Frostbuddy. Going over to frostbuddy.com. Use the promo code SSS15 to get 15% off of your first purchase. That is code SSS15 to get 15% off of your first purchase. My bad, I was cleaning my shredder. It was pretty full, I must say. Also, thank you to our friends at Chike Nutrition. 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of fat, 1 gram of sugar. Get your day started off right with the best coffee available on the market. Why not get it off to a great start with our friends over at ChikeNutrition.com. All right, we got a lot to talk about. Once again, guys, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below so that you don't, if you want to be involved in the show. By the way, we'll be posting a call-in link to the YouTube chat as well. If you guys want to be involved in the show, make sure you hit the call-in link and make sure that you are active in the comments as well. All right. So we have gone past the spring, and now we're officially entering the summertime. It's time for skill development, it's time for conditioning, and we're going to have a lot more conversation surrounding a lot of other things that we have had college that we have had around the sport that is college football. Babe, are you watching me? I figured it was you. All right, love you. Bye. So, what I find so funny about this whole situation with Brennan Sorsby is the fact that, well, first of all, let's kind of get to the really big news. Brennan Sorsby, of course, is under investigation, and yesterday checked in to he's taking an immediate leave, an indefinite leave of absence in order to enter a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. There is also an NCAA investigation into the betting habits of Brennan Sorsby. There's a timeline of his absence that is unknown, but it's going to be a 30-day program. The last 2 weeks was when the gambling problem really started to come to light. Now it's gotten to this point in our time. So according to On3, and this is a lot of sources that I've heard, he has placed thousands of bets on gambling apps in recent years, including on Indiana football when he redshirted in 2022. He also attended Cincinnati Reds games and placed live wagers on balls and strikes, betting anywhere from $2.50 to less than $1 per pitch. So here's really the definitive timeline. We don't know how long that he has been gambling. We don't know the whole situation with him as a gambling addict per se. But I do have a lot of speculation that if this has been a new development for him checking into rehab, this has obviously been a situation that has been ongoing for the last, I'd say, at least 3 years. Because it feels like it's too much of a gap between when the allegations first came to light, saying that he did this 4 years ago. And now here he is at this point in time, almost 4 years later, and now they're saying, oh, he's checking into rehab because he's got a gambling problem. So obviously he's still in the midst of doing this, and he still has a problem. Here's where the whole controversy comes into play. Any sports wagering he did before then in the state of Ohio and the state of Indiana would have broken state laws and NCAA rules. And by the way, might I add, he's in the middle of I believe, a lawsuit by Cincinnati saying that, oh, he broke a contract clause in his NIL deal whenever he was with Cincinnati. When I looked at the contract clause, they were made aware of this before the season even began, by the way. So I am very curious to see how long had this been going on, or not how long this had been going on, but why this really took a long time to be public knowledge, I should say. The guideline in 2023 included guidance that wagers greater than $800 would lead to the potential loss of 30% of a season of eligibility. For compulsative wagering that greatly exceeded $800, the staff is directly to consider whether additional loss of eligibility, including permanent, is inappropriate. If you remember, 2 years ago, there was a guy by the name of Hunter Deckers that was a quarterback over at Iowa State, and he made approximately 366 bets on his mom's DraftKings account that totaled just under $2,800. That included a $15 bet in 2021 for Iowa State to beat Oklahoma State, a game where he was on the roster, but obviously he didn't play. He pled guilty to a reduced charge of underage gambling, but based on the one Iowa State wager, the one wager, the NCAA ruled him permanently ineligible in February of 2024. There were others that gambled a lot more than just $2,800, but not on their sport. They received suspensions, but they got their eligibility. You're talking about a guy that bet on his own team, but they bet him to win. This is a sticky situation, and I'm going to play both sides to this. On one hand, I will say this. I do believe that this is a power grab for the NCAA to take so that they can retain some of that power that they have lost in recent years with the NIL clauses, them losing the NCAA, or the board versus NCAA case, I believe. So, what was it called? The House settlement. That's what it was. So when the House settlement came down, they lost that case. Then you have Diego Pavia's eligibility situation. They lost that case as well. The Nico Iamaleava case, where he's being accused of being illegally recruited. The NCAA fought it. They lost. Then you have a couple of other cases with Trinidad Chambliss. They end up losing. They did get a win in the Joey Aguilar situation, but I think that was a much more complex situation than when you compare it to Trinidad Chambliss. Now you have this come up. What does the NCAA do? In my opinion, I don't think that they should do anything. When you have this sort of problem come across, there comes a time where I have to step in, and I got to say this. The NCAA may be making an example out of him. And I hate that. I absolutely hate it. If you're the NCAA, you are licking your chops and you're happy that this is happening because you've gotten your butt handed to in the courtroom recently. Now that this is ongoing, This is a lot different than the Hunter Decker situation because you're talking about with NIL playing a huge role in this. You got to remember, it ain't like Hunter Deckers was a household name at Iowa State. We're talking about one of the most expensive quarterbacks in college right now. A $6.5 million quarterback that Texas Tech paid for them to play in Lubbock. I got to wonder what's going to happen with that NIL money with his situation ongoing. He's going to be suspended, but for how long? If he's suspended the full season, what happens to that NIL money? Is the contract nullified? That's a whole sticky situation. And I've talked to lawyers about this. They don't even know. And they've got to research it a bit more. And hopefully they'll get back to me pretty soon so we can get a definitive answer when it is all said and done. But this is incredible what we're witnessing right now. What I do want to get is my guy Trey Wallace on here to potentially kind of talk about this, and I'm sure we will very, very soon. It's a situation that I don't think anybody really wants to be in. That's what the bottom line with this is. The other issues is that as soon as he got exposed for this, I think Sorsby said, all right, I'm going to put myself into this gambling facility. I'm going to take my rehab, and maybe the NCAA will look at it and say, okay, no need to worry about this. We're going to only suspend you for 3 games. I don't know if the NCAA is even going to do that. I really believe they're going to make an example out of him. And I hate that. I really, really hate it. Because that's the grade of the league. That's what's so stupid about this whole thing. Is that they don't give a flying. Charlie Baker is smiling at this right now. I guarantee you. Think I'm crazy. This is a situation that he has been looking for. But it goes to show you that there's also a hypocrisy on this. Because let me tell you, college athletics, college sports media, gambling companies are sponsoring some of this content. So if the NCAA is trying to make an example out of Brendan Sorsby in this, they're going to have to say some things about how they're displayed in major news media. CBS Sports, when you talk about what happened with On3 and how they're sponsored by BetMGM and etc. But I guess they're exempt from that. Adam Ritter at 7355 says, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but how did South Carolina lose to the Citadel? That's South Carolina baseball for you at this point, dude. Dude, that baseball team is such a freaking joke. I mean, you have gotten significantly better with Monty as your assistant guy. But here's the problem with South Carolina baseball. You have been such an inconsistent team, and you have had so many inconsistent results for it. The fact that you can go into a situation like you had against the Citadel where look, I'm not going to deny that the Citadel is how do we say? Look, man, the mid-major teams have just gotten the best of you. And it's gotten the best of the SEC, too. I don't really think it's just South Carolina, man. Everybody in the SEC has been vulnerable to midweeks. Florida, Kentucky, LSU, Bama, Auburn. Most of them have been absolutely getting destroyed by these midweek teams. That's part of it, man. When you have 3 hits in a game, that's just bad. So, but the good thing about it is that you are 7-14 in SEC play. You're a lot better than what I thought you were going to be at the start of the season back in February. He also says, if we do get the Coastal coach, who would you want? Yeah, I'm all in on Kevin Schnall on that one. I think Schnall is the perfect fit for that program. Oh, if we don't get Kevin Schnall. I know that there's been a push for that Georgia Tech head coach. I know that, but I just don't see a scenario where a second-year guy is going to leave that program. James Ramsey has done a great job with that team. This guy, in just a couple seasons of being longtime head coach, getting to take over a guy like Danny Hall, who's a legend. I mean, a legend in college baseball. How do you approach that? He's a Georgia guy, played at Florida State, has been around, bounced around from team to team to team around the minors, but he's been one of the best outfielding coaches in over the last 6 years, and Danny Hall promotes him. And look at what they're doing right now. They're gonna, in my opinion, they were always a favorite for me going into Omaha. I would have them right now as the overwhelming odds favorite to win the national championship at this point. I think that series that they had against North Carolina, I think it shook them a little bit. You had moments where you got down early in this game. You got run ruled in the second game. But I think you were able to, you had moments where your lineup looks like the best in the college game. Adam, it's no biggie, man. Hey, I love the interaction, and glad that you're subscribed. I'm assuming that you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, you better subscribe, or else things are bad, or really bad, are going to happen very soon. I'm kidding. But they have had a lot of statement wins. I think that Georgia win last week was incredible, just in that midweeker. Because you're going up against a good Georgia team that has a lot of good bats, and they always have. I mean, you go look at that game against Mississippi State, and you had a lot of balls that went out to the outfield. There were a lot of long balls throughout that series. Had a really good series against Ole Miss. Probably one of the best series that we've had so far in college baseball. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing. But I think if you're South Carolina right now, from a baseball perspective, I think realistically, Schnall is your number one get. I think you're going to go get Schnall when it is all said and done. I think he's been the right guy for it. I really, really, really hope that he keeps on Monty on the roster. He's been a guy that's been around South Carolina for a while. I get that he was he was a pawpaw guy, but we'll see. We'll see. It'd be interesting this week with Paul. I hope Paul doesn't try to talk to us. What's going on with Paul this weekend? That's what I want to know. Is he coming back? Why? I think that Monty should be back with this new coaching staff. I think it would make a lot of sense. Monty's a really good coach. I think he's proven himself plenty of times. Him staying around as that's right, we do play LSU this weekend. A buddy of mine actually offered me some tickets to go to the game this weekend, but I play semi-pro football, so I cannot go. But kind of just wrapping up on South Carolina this weekend. But look, if you are going to come away with a series win, which in crazy as it sounds, I actually do have you winning this series. Crazy as it sounds, I have a really good feeling that this weekend is going to be the weekend where you finally put it all together. I think you're able to get to 10 wins in the SEC when it's all said and done. If you can finish middle of the pack in the SEC, look, if you get to 10, 11 wins, dude, this has been such an up and down season that it is ridiculous. It's insane how it's kind of gone awry throughout the rest of the season. But again, I think you've gotten significantly better. You're more competitive as a team, and I think that's the biggest thing that separates from where you were at the beginning of the year and where you are currently as we stand at this current moment. Why is the bad hitting? Honestly, dude, I could not tell you. I play football. I need to play for Carolina. Hell no, dog. I'm 22 years old, bro. I'm done. I have fun playing football. That's all that matters, brother. That's all that matters. But all right. Let's talk about what's going on with where just kind of finishing up on the Brendan Sorsby situation. I don't know what's going to happen the next couple of weeks. I do believe that there is going to be a suspension, whether it be 3 games, whether it be the whole season. The weight now falls on Will Hammond. And I like Will Hammond. I thought he's played well at times throughout the season. I know he came in for this past year, had some really good showings, really lit it up against Utah, had a really, really efficient day. Also had some days where he just wasn't good in place of Baron Morton. But he's a guy that I think can be an efficient quarterback, dual threat. Him and Sorsby kind of have the same tendencies together. I think that's what's most important when we talk about those two guys. They are optimistic he's going to return. The ACL is obviously disturbing. It hurts for where you are as a team. But again, I think you will continue to build. I don't know if you go in the portal and go get another guy, but from where you are in this first 3 games, this is what Texas Tech has through their first 3 games of the season. Let's just say that he's suspended throughout that. You play Abilene Christian in the first game, you play Oregon State, and then you go to Houston. Guys, if you're probably not going to get him back for Houston. I think you're gonna find a. I do believe that in 2. Excuse me, I'm trying to think. That Houston game, in my opinion, is going to be the game that decides who's one of the participants in the Big 12 championship. Houston returns a lot of production, and I know that they are a team that I have always considered to be dangerous. I've always considered them to be better than what a lot of people expect. BYU should be good once again. I'm not really surprised about that. I think BYU's schedule is very favorable. Arizona is going to be expected of a potential chance to be a dark horse for the Big 12. But listen, I think the Big 12 championship is going to be decided in these early weeks. Texas Tech missing Brennan Sorsby early on is going to come back to haunt them. Because not only that, I don't know if you're going to get Will Hammond by the time you play Houston. We'll see what happens, but I don't know if he's going to be as efficient as he was this past year. So it's a big risk that you're taking. And obviously, Brennan Sorsby has nobody to blame but himself. I'm not here saying that I am an advocate of gambling. I think you should. I'm not saying that you should. I don't encourage anybody to gamble. I think it's stupid. But he has to pay the fiddler. He did it underage, and he got caught. It's not on anybody else but him. But again, I do say this. There's been a lot worse that has happened in the NCAA that has granted almost zero suspension. Zero grounds for suspension. So I don't believe that this whole Brennan Sorsby situation is going to be as big of a deal as we think it is right now. In my opinion, I don't think that he should even be suspended. Unfortunately, I do believe the NCAA is going to make an example out of this. I don't think that they should. But again, I'm not in charge of the NCAA. That's a Charlie Baker decision that they're going to have to make when it's all said and done. The 2027 NFL draft class and the NFL draft is just over 12 months away. But it's never too early to kind of discuss this because there's been a lot of hot debate on this. There has been some competition differences in this wide receiver class. And I want to briefly discuss them a little bit with you, shall we? So let's talk about what 2027 is going to look like for the majority of what this class is going to look like. So let's talk about the quarterback. Honestly, guys, I'm not impressed with the quarterback class. I don't trust majority of what that class is going to look like. I think there's a lot of suspects in this one. And also, here's the thing with what NIL has done. When NIL has come into a play and these guys are getting paid $5-6 million to play the game in college, they're not going to leave school early. The NFL draft classes are going to become more and more diluted to where the class is going to get worse. And unfortunately, we may be seeing more and more situations like what the Arizona Cardinals were kind of backed into with Jeremiah Love, where he's paying him $50 million and he hasn't stepped foot on to an NFL team. It's because of how much money kind of played into a role in this one. But when I look at this NFL draft class in 2027, I believe that there is a very, very, very suspect crew. When I look at guys like Dante Moore, Arch Manning, I don't think that they're among the best in their class. Crazy as it sounds. Because Dante Moore's biggest struggle this past year was playing against top 25 defenses. He played against Indiana twice and struggled. He played against Washington and struggled. His biggest problem was turning the football over. He had a great offensive line majority of the year. Yes, I get that he had some pass catchers that were injured, But regardless of that, name me one game that you guys thought that Dante Moore was good in. Name me one that you thought that, man, he really does look like a first-round draft pick. I'll be honest with you. I didn't see one. This isn't SEC bias in this one. It's me observing the game and telling you I'm not impressed with Dante Moore. I'm just not. I don't buy the hype. I don't buy the attention that he gets. I'm just not in it. He's a check down guy that lets his receivers work. And you know what that reminds me of? Fernando Mendoza. We'll see what it looks like in whatever offense that he's in. But Dante Moore is the guy that's going to take short intermediate routes. And then you know who does majority of the work for him? Receivers. Give me a couple passes that he had down the field that were just pretty balls. Really, really impressive. Sorry. Can't find one. Can't find one. So, he's got a lot of work to do, man. Really does. He's got to limit the turnovers. He's got to be more poised in the pocket. And he's got to be smart with the football. He's got to be. Arch Manning. He has the name. And I'm not saying he had a bad season either. I think his biggest issue was that he was plagued by an offensive line that was poorly developed, poorly run. And he struggled at times in games. But let me tell you, the last two games of the season were really good. Really good. Sure, passing efficiency wasn't there for him, especially against Texas A&M. Worst, the second worst of the season. Had some big runs, though. Michigan game was a great game for him to end off. But are we ready to really call him the next one, the next great Manning? I'm not. I'm not sold on Arch Manning. I'm not sold on almost any quarterback in this class except for one. One guy that I think is going to be better than what we really think. Better than what people have been expecting of him. That's Julian Sayin. Guys, Julian Sayin's a really good quarterback. His accuracy is through the freaking roof. I have never seen anyone throw a better ball than Julian Sayin. He makes smart decisions. Yes, I know he has playmakers, but he can throw the football down the field. He knows how to fit tight windows. And he knows how to be a leader on the field. That's what you ultimately need in an NFL quarterback. That's why I think he's going to be the number one guy that's taken off the board when it comes to the quarterback position. Not Arch Manning, not Dante Moore. It's going to be Julian Sayin. He has it. He has it compared to the other quarterbacks in this draft class. It's bottom line. It's really, really freaking good, dude. Let's talk about this wide receiver class. So, how do I say this? Why are we hyping this wide receiver class up to and comparing it to being the best that we've seen in a while. Let me ask you this. Jeremiah Smith, is he worth the hype? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to respond to this. Do you think that Jeremiah Smith honestly is worth the hype? Is he worth the risk that teams are projected to take with him as a wide receiver? Is it? Is it? Crickets. Is Jeremiah Smith really worth a first-round pick? He is a great athlete. I'm not denying that. But here is the thing. Is he worth the hype? We'll see. He's looked really, really good. A lot of big games that he's had. Indiana against Miami. And people are going to say, oh, well, he played against the SEC. Oh, he's not that good against the SEC. Okay. So you're talking about 2 games that he played against the SEC. Or what? Really 3. If you count Texas twice. If you don't, then you're just being a stickler. But look at what he did against Tennessee. Six catches for $103, and 2 scores. Look at how he takes over games at times. Look at how clutch he can be in big moments. When they go to a guy like him, he's going to make plays. And I'm from SEC country, okay? I've seen what this kid can do. This kid's a really good football player. He's probably one of the best receivers that has come out of this draft class over the last 5 years. Probably one of the best receivers that we've seen since Jamar Chase. Just saying. And I know that's a big leap. Bold thing to say. I think that Jeremiah Smith, honestly, is the best receiver that has come out of Ohio State. Probably. He's better than Marvin Harrison. My honest opinion. I think Jeremiah Smith's faster. I think he's got better hops. And I think he's a much, much cleaner route runner than Marvin Harrison. My personal opinion, I think Jeremiah Smith's probably better than any other wide receiver that has come out of Ohio State. It's crazy to say, I know. It's crazy. 12 first-round draft picks, when you have guys like Jackson Smith and Jigma, when you have Emeka Egbuka, a lot of big-time players. A lot of big-time players. Chris Olave's come out of there. Freaking Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn, Santonio Holmes. Oh, there's a lot of good receivers that has come out of Ohio State, man. But let me just tell you, I don't think I've ever seen a more talented player than what Jeremiah Smith has become. He just has this wow factor about him that you just couldn't believe. You can't believe your eyes when he steps on the field. Guys, he's going to do phenomenal things. phenomenal things this year. He's going to continue to dominate at the next level. I don't think I've ever seen a football player that has done things that Jeremiah Smith has done. But there's him and Cam Coleman are the two receivers in this draft class. Cam Coleman has had some crazy moments, man. He's had some really good days. 6'3", 200 pounds. I remember him whenever he came out of high school, and I thought he was a freak. We've seen the best. We've seen the worst of Cam Coleman. Had a great last 3 games of the season in 2024. What does he do in 2025? He has 2 100-yard games, has one against Missouri, has one against Vanderbilt where he just popped off in that game. But he does tend to disappear. My biggest knack on him is that is he as physical as we believe to be? I don't want to question Cam Coleman's physicality because he's a really good receiver. He's a guy that I think is going to be primed to have a monster year. But what does his game translate to at the next level? Very versatile wide receiver. The only thing is that he does struggle with drops. Blocking has not been great. And he does tend to drop the football at times. Jeremiah Smith does a little bit better at that. I think Jeremiah Smith's a lot better when in the blocking department. That's why I have him over Cam Coleman. But, man, there's a lot of great things that you and I can talk about these two receivers. When we both turn on the tape and when we watch film from them this year and their new with Cam Coleman at Texas and a new offensive system that he's going to be in, and when we turn on the tape and we compare Jeremiah Smith, it's going to be polar freaking opposite than the tape that we watch from this past year. But again, I ask the question, are we ever going to have an elite draft class anymore because of NIL? I don't know if that's the case. I don't think it will happen. And to be honest with you guys, I think we're going to lose that. It sucks. Because there's a lot of really talented players that could come out and make a draft class elite and be beneficial to a lot of NFL teams, but they're staying another year in college because the money is talking. Guys, thank you once again for hopping on with us here at the Southern Sports Scene. Please do us this favor. Like, share, and subscribe down below. Comment down below what content do you want to see next from us here at the Southern Sports Scene. If you're watching us on Twitter, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a repost, share with all your friends. And once again, guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe down below. Turn on the bell notification so that you're notified every time we go live, posting a video or posting a short here on the Southern Sports Scene. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay blessed. Don't stress. Y'all have a great rest of the week.